With that said, let's take a look at installing WAP on Windows Server 2012 R2. I'm going to go into the Server Manager and I'm going to go into the Add Roles and Features. Boy, that sounds familiar. We just did that with the Active Directory Federation Services in another module. We're then going to click on the role-based or feature-based installation. We're going to click on the local computer name and then we're going to click Remote Access Role. There's no additional features that are required. We're simply going to click on the remote access role. After doing so, we're going to come to a screen. It's going to ask us what we want to install. We're going to select the Web Application Proxy Role Service. After doing that, we're going to see the default features that are used and needed by WAP, and we're simply going to click Add Features, and then we're going to kick off the installation by clicking Install. Now, once we've installed the role successfully, we're going to then double check to make sure we've installed the SSL certificate, the same certificate as we did with ADFS. We're going to go back into Server Manager. We're going to click Open the Web Application Proxy Wizard. We're going to enter the Federation service name that we assigned to ADFS when we installed that. We're going to provide the account with admin permissions. We're going to import the certificate, and then we're going to click Configure. And then, to verify the installation was successful, we're going to go into the Event Viewer, and we're going to be looking for Event ID 198. 198 indicates you're rocking and rolling with the WAP server. So these are the steps necessary for installing the Web Application Proxy on Windows Server 2012 R2. Now what about if we have something older than 2012 R2, maybe running Windows Server 2012? Well, we're going to use something very similar, but our options are going to be slightly different when we go in to choose what we want to install. We're going to go back into Server Manager. We're going to open up Add Roles and Features. We're going to click the role-based or feature-based installation. Sounds pretty routine by now. Click on the local computer name. Click the Active Directory Federation Services role. We're then going to have to choose the .NET Framework 3.5 on the Features page. We didn't have to do this with Windows Server 2012 R2. So starting in Step 5 is where it gets slightly different. Step 6, we're going to leave the default options under the web server role, which is the IIS role. So these are the first 6 steps for installing the role for the ADFS proxy on a Windows Server 2012 or older. As we continue on with the installation, we're going to go in, and on Step 7, we're going to deselect Federation Service from the selected Federation Service proxy. We don't need to install that. We're then going to make sure the SSL certificate has been installed. And speaking of certificates, let's talk a little bit about what's called a certificate chain. And we're going to put this installation on hold just for about 30 seconds. A certificate chain consists of all the certificates necessary or needed to certify the subject identified by the end certificate. So we can have a level or a hierarchy of certificates. In practice, this includes this end certificate, the certificates of your intermediate CAs or certificate authorities, and the certificate of a root CA. So every intermediate CA in the chain holds a certificate issued by the CA one level above it. So if you have a hierarchy of certificates, that is what is referred to as a certificate chain, should you ever see that. All right, back to our installation. We're now going to launch the fspconfig-wizard.exe. This is how we create our proxy on a Windows Server 2012 or older machine. And you'll find this wizard in the Windows ADFS directory. Once you launch that, you're going to enter in your Federation service name. There'll be a little checkbox to optionally choose to configure your HTTP proxy server. And then it may pop up and ask you again for a federated service account. After this is all done, you're going to click Next. You'll wait. It should pop up with a little dialog box saying that you are able to successfully connect to the Federation service. You're going to verify this. You're going to go back into the event viewer and you're going to look for our lucky number 198. If you find lucky number 198, you'll know the configuration was successful.